Hey, fellowship. I hope you're having a great week this week. I was thinking about this last Sunday when I preached on lighting your world and really kind of what that means and what it looks like. And it's just been fun because if you have been following along in the Fellowship Journal, we've been reading through the New Testament and we're actually in 2 Corinthians. And on Monday, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, it says this, "For what we proclaim is not ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, with ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake. For God who said, 'Let light shine out of darkness,' has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ." And I just thought it was amazing how on Sunday, here I am preaching about let your light shine and light your world. And then on Monday morning, I get up and I'm reading through 2 Corinthians chapter 4, and it talks about how God has shone His light in our hearts so that we could shine that light to other people. You know, I've shared before about the influence of my parents in my life, and my mom and dad are really the godliest people I think I know. And when I was in seminary, I'll never forget, they came down to visit me, and I hadn't seen them in months. And I met them at the hotel that they had stayed at the night before. And so as I was in the parking lot, my mom came out, and I was so excited to see my mom. Hadn't seen her in so long, and she poked her head inside my car, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I love you." And the first thing out of her mouth was, "Hey, do you have a tract? Do you have one of those steps to peace with God?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." She said, "Great, I'll take it." And I was like, "Okay, I love you too." And she just kind of left, and she went back into the hotel. And I later found out when my parents were staying at my house that night, we were talking, and you know what? They had struck up a conversation with a lady who was working the counter at the hotel. And she was from another country, and she didn't know God, and they just began shining their light even in that moment. You know, I think about that, and I think about how God has called us in everyday situations to shine our light. Matter of fact, one other example of my dad was one day, a guy from FedEx was delivering a package, and I guess he was waiting on a signature, waiting on something, and in the midst of waiting, my dad introduced him to Jesus Christ right there. And I think, you know, that's what God has designed for us to do, is to shine our light everywhere we go, the conversations we have, to let His light shine through us. And I pray that this week, that's exactly what you'll do with your spouse, with your kids, with your grandkids, the people you work with, your neighbors, that they will be able to see the light of Christ in your life. Have a great week.